Juki has been and will be pursuing essential quality and ideal features of sewing machines, with the intention of realizing a comfortable work environment that satisfies the operator's needs. Types of sewing material and thread are dramatically changing along with the diversification of fashion tastes. This is a newly developed high-performance machine with improved features to catch up with the rapidly changing types of material and thread used to manufacture up-to-date fashion-conscious products. Our buttonholing machines have enjoyed a good market reputation for their sewing performance, ease of operation, and durability. We have made an overall review on our conventional buttonholing machine and have worked out improvements to its features for more sophisticated design and more powerful sewing ability. Now Juki presents to you our newly developed LBH series machine, ideally suited. List of applications. The S-type, the standard LBH type, is applied to men's shirts, blouses, etc. The K-type of LBH for knits is applied to knitted underwear, sweaters, etc. Now let's see the following list for other applications. Specifications. The sewing machine comes with two different types of specifications. One is the electronic stop motor type, and the other is the induction motor type. You can use the machine with or without an automatic run pedal feature. Operation: adjusting the belt tension. For the electronic stop motor type machine, the V-belt should slacken about 10 millimeters when you depress the middle of the V-belt with a 1 kilogram load. Loosen the nuts and adjust the tension of the V-belt by moving the motor up or down. For the induction motor type machine, the high-speed belt should slacken about 20 millimeters and the low-speed belt should slacken about 10 millimeters when you depress the middle of respective belts with a 1 kilogram load. Adjust the high-speed belt tension by loosening the nuts and moving the motor mounting base up or down. Adjust the low-speed belt tension using this screw. Rotational direction. The sewing machine rotates counterclockwise as viewed from the back. For the machine with an electronic stop motor, turn on the power switch when the needle bar is not in its upper stop position. If the machine rotates in the reverse direction, disconnect the connector on the rear of the motor once and reconnect it after turning it 180 degrees. Lubrication. Tilt the machine head and pour Juki New Defrix Oil No. 1 up to the middle of the red marker lines on the oil gauge. Threading the machine head. It is very important to thread the machine head correctly. Failed threading of the machine head may result in malfunction of the machine. Please take care to thread the machine head correctly as shown on the display. When using synthetic filament thread, you should thread all 3 holes in the bobbin thread guide of the needle bar. When using cotton thread or spun thread, you should thread the upper and lower holes. It is not necessary to thread the middle hole. Winding the bobbin. Fit a bobbin to the bobbin winder shaft. Thread the tension post guide number 1 and the bobbin thread guide. Wind the bobbin thread round the bobbin several times. Now press the bobbin guide to wind the bobbin. Threading the bobbin case. For purl stitching, thread the bobbin case to allow the bobbin to turn counterclockwise, as displayed on the screen. For whip stitching, thread the bobbin case to allow the bobbin to turn clockwise, as displayed on the screen. Adjusting the stitch width. Open the cover. Adjust the stitch width using screw 1. Turn it counterclockwise to decrease the stitch width, or clockwise to increase it. Adjust the right stitch baseline of the parallel stitch part of a buttonhole using screw 2. Turn it counterclockwise to move the right stitch baseline to the left, or clockwise to move it to the right. Adjust the left stitch baseline of the parallel stitch part of a buttonhole using screw 3. Turn it counterclockwise to move the left stitch baseline to the left, or clockwise to move it to the right. Adjust the bar tacking width using screw 4. Turn it counterclockwise to decrease the bar tacking width, or clockwise to increase it. The machine has bar tacking cams number 1 and number 2. You can increase or decrease the number of stitches to be made at the bar tacking part of a buttonhole by only changing these cams. Adjusting the stitch length. Draw the cam cover holder and remove the cover. Then raise the feed bracket cover. Loosen the nut. Set the pointer at the scale line on the bell crank, indicating the stitch length you desire. Then tighten the nut. Changing the number of stitches. Remove the manual feed handle and open the cover. Remove the gear from the machine and install a gear for the number of stitches you desire. The table shows the available gear types. An alphabet and the number of stitches are engraved on respective gears. Combine gears with the same alphabet. The cam on the right-hand side shaft determines the number of stitches. Fit a gear onto the right-hand side shaft, close the cover, and attach the manual feed handle. For the induction motor type machine, the position of the low-speed cam needs to be adjusted according to the number of stitches specified. The table on the screen shows the range of clearance B. For the electronic stop motor type machine, no adjustment according to the number of stitches is necessary. Manual feed handle. When the work clamp carrier is not in its stop motion position, or when you wish to restart sewing from a point of thread breakage, turn the manual feed handle to make the work clamp carrier unit to move. Emergency stop. For the electronic stop motor type machine, the machine stops during an emergency when you fully depress the emergency stop lever manually. Low-speed operation. Lower the emergency stop lever and dislocate the low-speed stopper. Then actuate the sewing machine and the machine will carry out its low-speed operation. Operating the control box for the electronic stop motor type machine. Turn on the power switch and the power indicator LED will light up. Turn the sewing speed adjustment dial clockwise to increase the sewing speed, or counterclockwise to decrease it. Open the cover of the control box, where you will find dip switches on the CPU circuit board. For the electronic stop motor type machine, 2 stitches at the start of sewing are sewn at low speed. Set this dip switch to its on position when your machine uses an electronic stop motor. Set this dip switch to its on position when your machine is equipped with the 1-pedal unit. Set this to its on position when you wish to slow the timing to start the sewing machine. You can change the number of stitches to be sewn at low speed using switches 6 through 8. You can change the speed of the sewing machine during low speed operation using switches 1 through 3. You can change the lifting speed of the work clamp check using switches 2 through 4. You can select either single stitching or double stitching using this switch. Adjustments. Adjusting the height of the needle bar. Align the needle with the center of the needle hole in the throat plate at the left-hand side parallel stitch part of a buttonhole. Determine the height of the needle bar using timing gauge 1. The sizes of timing gauge are as shown in the table on the screen. Adjust the height of the needle bar using the needle bar connection screw. Adjusting the timing relation between the needle and the hook and the needle guard. Align the needle with the center of the needle hole in the throat plate at the left-hand side parallel part of a buttonhole. When the needle starts ascending from its lowest position, align the blade point of the hook with the center of the needle using timing gauge 2. At this time, the distance between the upper end of the needle eyelet and the blade point of the hook should be 1.3 to 1.5 millimeters. At this time, in addition, a clearance of 0.01 to 0.04 millimeters should be provided between the needle and the blade point of the hook. loosen the inner hook screw and adjust the clearance to this amount. At this time, confirm that the needle is 0 to 0.02 millimeters away from the needle guard. Now let's check the timing relation between the needle and the hook. Check the actual seam. Tie stitches. For tie stitches made at the sewing end, adjust the tie stitch width to 0.3 to 0.6 millimeters using the screw. Turn the screw counterclockwise to decrease the stitch width or clockwise to increase it. If you set the tie stitch width to an excessive width, frayed stitching may result. Adjusting the needle entry and the timing of the needle bar rocking motion. The needle should enter the center of the needle hole in the throat plate at the left-hand parallel stitch part of a button hole. Make an adjustment properly using the screw in the back of the needle bar rocking bracket. For the needle bar rocking timing, loosen screws number 1 and number 2 in the needle bar rocking small gear, and adjust so that the forked section of the needle bar rocking rod is aligned with the marker line on the needle bar rocking cam by turning the rocking cam shaft. Position of the origin of the length regulating shaft bell crank, lower, and installing position of the stop motion cam. Turn the manual feed handle to make the main cam rotate until the center of the roller of the length regulating shaft bell crank, lower, and the marker line are on the main cam. Then, loosen the screw in the bell crank. Loosen the nut of the length regulating shaft, then move the shaft along with the arch groove in the length regulating shaft bell crank upper until the bell crank upper does not move longitudinally. Tighten the screw in the length regulating shaft bell crank lower at this position. It is necessary to confirm that no vertical play is left to the length regulating shaft bell crank. Install the stop motion cam at the position making the machine stop when the marker line on the main cam S comes to the center of the main cam driving gear shaft. Adjust the installing position of the stop motion cam using the screw in it. Relationship between the work clamp carrier and the work clamp check. While positioning the work clamp carrier and the work clamp check, confirm that the distance from the front edge of the work clamp carrier and the front end face of the inside of the work clamp check is 38.5 millimeters. Adjust the distance using the screw in the feed bracket. Adjusting the stop motion lever catch and latch. Position of the stop motion lever catch A and latch B. Loosen the bolt in catch A when the machine is in its stop motion position. Move the catch up or down so as to adjust the clearance between catch A and latch B to 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters. Then tighten the bolt. Adjust the pressure spring of the induction motor type machine so that the screw protrudes about 5 millimeters from the bottom of the nut. Now, tighten the nut. Electronic stop motor. Position of catch A and latch B. After the machine has stopped and before the stop motion magnet starts moving, loosen the bolt in catch A. Move catch A up or down so as to adjust the clearance between catch A and latch B to 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters. Then tighten the bolt. When the stop motion magnet starts moving, a clearance of 0.5 millimeters should be provided between catch A and latch B. Loosen the screw in the stopper and the screw in the stopper guide and adjust the clearance properly. Position of the stop motion presser plate. Loosen the screw and adjust the clearance between the stop motion presser plate and the presser bar spring from 0 to 0.5 millimeters in the high-speed operation state. Adjusting the reduction gear unit. At the time of stop motion, the high-speed pulley should be 0.25 to 0.35 millimeters away from the driving pulley, and the low-speed pulley should be 0.4 to 0.5 millimeters away from the switching clutch. Loosen the screw and adjustment nut in the clutch switching can, and make the adjustment using the adjustment screw. Adjust the brake disc so that a clearance of 0 to 1.0 millimeters is provided between the slot in the brake mounting plate and the screw in the stop motion state. Position of the starting link. Turn the eccentric shaft to the stop motion position and adjust the clearance between the starting link and the starting plate to 0.3 to 0.5 millimeters. Then, tighten the nut. Position of the ratchet resetting lever. When the knife bar driving lever bell crank is engaged with the knife bar driving crank in the low-speed operation state, the ratchet resetting lever should be 0.5 to 1.0 millimeters away from the screw in the knife bar stopper driving lever bell crank. Adjust the clearance to the value by positioning the stopper. This adjustment is necessary to allow the knife to drop without fail in the low-speed operation state. Adjusting the stop-motion gearing arm link shaft. For the induction motor type machine, the stop-motion lever must be positioned at the top of the stop-motion cam. For the electronic stop motor type machine, the second step of the stop-motion lever cache should be engaged with the stop-motion lever latch B. Under this condition, adjust the stop-motion gearing arm link shaft so that the knife bar driving lever bell crank moves on the knife driving ratchet guide plate by 0 to 0.5 millimeters toward the frame. This adjustment is necessary to prevent the knife from dropping in the stop-motion state. Position of the high-speed safety link. Pull the stop-motion lever until a 0.7 millimeter clearance is provided between the stop-motion lever cache and latch B. Now start adjusting the position of the high-speed safety link. Make the stop-motion cache and latch B engage with each other at the low-speed operation position. Then temporarily tighten the screw. Then pull the stop-motion lever until the stop-motion lever cache is 0.7 millimeters away from latch B. In this state, turn the high-speed safety link and adjust so that the knife bar driving lever bell crank travels on the knife tripping lever guide plate by 0 to 0.3 millimeters toward the frame. Again, make the catch A and latch B engage with each other at the low speed operation position and tighten the screw. This adjustment is necessary to prevent the knife from dropping in the high speed operation state. Position of the knife bar driving lever bell crank. When the knife bar driving crank is in the lowest position of its stroke, it should be 0.2 to 0.4 millimeters away from the knife bar driving lever bell crank. Loosen the nut and adjust the clearance to the value using the screw in the knife bar driving lever stopper. Position of the ratchet pawl B. When the top end of the knife bar driving lever bell crank claw comes in contact with the ratchet pawl B, they should overlap with each other by 2.0 to 3.0 millimeters. Turn the hook adjustment screw in the eccentric shaft and adjust the clearance properly. Adjusting the tension of the timing belt. Loosen the adjustment nut and the lock nut of the left-handed screw in the idler arm. Tilt the machine head. Press the timing belt with your fingers so that it slackens. Then tighten the adjustment nut and the idler arm lock nut, respectively. Position of the emergency stop plate for the induction motor type machine. When the stop motion lever catch A and latch B are engaged with each other at the low speed operation position, a vertical clearance of 0 to 0.2 millimeters should be provided between the edge of the emergency stop plate and the edge of catch A, and the emergency stop plate should overlap catch A by 0.2 to 0.4 millimeters. Loosen the screw and make the adjustment by moving the emergency stop plate vertically and laterally. Adjusting the stop position of the needle for the electronic stop motor type machine. Remove the pulley cover. Adjust the upper stopping position of the needle using the screw. Set the screw at the left-hand side to quicken the timing to stop the machine, allowing the machine to stop before the marker dot. Set the screw at the right-hand side to retard the timing to stop the machine, allowing the machine to stop beyond the marker dot. This position is the standard position, where the red marker dot and the white marker dot are aligned with each other. Adjust to align the dots. Adjusting the needle thread trimmer. Longitudinal position of the needle thread trimmer. Before the thread is trimmed, the distance from the center of the needle to the thread presser spring should be 1 to 2 millimeters. After the thread is trimmed, it should be 2 to 3 millimeters. Loosen the screw in the needle thread actuating arm A and make the adjustment by moving the arm back and forth. Height of the needle thread trimmer. It is better to set the needle thread trimmer as low as possible, provided that it does not touch the work clamp check. Loosen the screw in the needle thread trimmer and make the adjustment properly. Timing to open the needle thread trimmer. Loosen the screw in the knife actuating cam and adjust so that the needle thread trimmer is kept closed for 2 to 3 millimeters from the sewing start by moving the actuating cam back and forth. A distance of 2 to 3 millimeters is equivalent to a seam length of 5 or 6 stitches when the number of stitches is set to 126. Adjusting the locking bracket. Adjust the position of the locking bracket so that the needle thread trimmer stays on top of the needle thread trimmer actuating cam. Loosen the screws in the locking bracket and make the adjustment by moving the cam vertically and laterally. The vertical overlapping width should be adjusted to 1.5 to 2 millimeters and the lateral clearance to 0.3 to 0.5 millimeters. After the adjustment, confirm that a 3 millimeter or more distance is obtained between the groove in the knife blade and the top end of the needle thread trimmer. Pressure of the needle thread trimmer spring. If using a Tetron thread number 50, a 150 gram or more of pressure is required to securely catch the thread when the thread is pulled at right angles to the blade. Adjusting the bobbin thread trimmer. Adjusting the bobbin thread trimmer lever stopper. Adjust so that the clearance between the bobbin thread trimmer and the bobbin thread trimmer lever stopper is 0.1 to 0.3 millimeters when the presser bar lifting lever comes in contact with the presser bar lifting lever stopper A. Timing to close the bobbin thread trimmer. Temporarily tighten the screw in the bobbin thread trimmer link shaft. Turn the bobbin thread trimmer link shaft counterclockwise and gradually lower the presser bar lifting lever by hand. When the timing to close the trimmer quickens so as to close it beyond the forward travel end of the trimmer, the closing amount is increased. Open the trimmer using the lever. Turn the bobbin thread trimmer link shaft clockwise to retard the timing to close the trimmer, resulting in an insufficient closing amount. Turn the link shaft further counterclockwise and adjust so that the crest of the upper blade of the bobbin thread trimmer aligns with the edge of the throat plate base. Timing to open the bobbin thread trimmer. Move the feed bracket using the manual feed handle. Loosen the screw in the bobbin thread trimmer actuating cam and make the adjustment by moving the cam back and forth. The type of thread used determines the size of the slot and the screw as indicated on the display. After the adjustment, confirm that the bobbin thread trimmer opens without fail. Knife descending position. Lower the knife and check the lateral and vertical distances from the knife to the throat plate base. For the lateral position of the drop knife, loosen the screw in the knife bar holder and make the adjustment by turning the knife bar. Adjust the longitudinal position of the drop knife by moving the knife installing base back and forth. Timing to drop the knife. The knife should descend to cut the materials just before the final 3 or 4 stitches are formed. Make the adjustment by changing the position of the knife tripping segment mounted on the main cam. When you have changed the number of stitches, confirm and adjust the timing to drop the knife. Adjusting the knife stopping lever and the thread breakage detection wire. Temporarily tighten the screw in the thread breakage detection wire. Confirm that the knife stopping lever lightly moves. Then, temporarily tighten the screw in the knife stopping lever when the lever is brought to the position to come in contact with the knife stopping lever shaft. Tighten the screw at the position where the knife stopping lever comes in contact with the screw in the knife bar stopping driving lever. In this state, adjust the vertical clearance between the thread breakage detection wire and the take-up thread guide to 5 millimeters, and the vertical clearance between them to 0.5 millimeters. Lubrication system. Lubrication. The lubrication pump discharges oil from the oil pan to the plunger pump by way of the lubrication pipe, which is blue. Then the oil is supplied to the machine components from the plunger pump. The oil in the faceplate returns to the oil pan through the returning pipe, which is pink. Adjusting the oil amount. Adjusting the amount of oil in the hook. The amount of oil in the hook is adjusted by turning the adjustment screw. Place a sheet of paper under the hook and confirm that oil splashes as displayed on the screen during 5 operation cycles of the sewing machine. Adjusting the amount of oil in the faceplate. The amount of oil in the faceplate is adjusted by turning the crank oil amount adjustment pin. Place a sheet of paper into the faceplate and confirm that oil splashes as displayed on the screen during 5 operation cycles of the sewing machine. Stitching adjustment. Adjusting the needle thread tension. Adjust the needle thread tension using tension post number 1, number 2, and number 3. When performing purl stitching with the seam crest at the parallel stitch part of a buttonhole, first adjust the needle thread tension at the bar tacking part number 1 using the tension post number 3. Then adjust the thread tension at the bar tacking part number 2 using tension post number 2. Lastly, adjust the thread tension at the parallel stitch part using tension post number 1. For whip stitching, without a seam crest at the parallel stitch part of a buttonhole, set tension post number 1 and number 2 to 0 and adjust the needle thread tension using only tension post number 3. Adjusting the timing to release the thread tension. Timing to release tension post number 1. Release tension post number 1 at the bar tacking parts number 1 and number 2 of a buttonhole and perform whip stitching. The floating amount of the tension disc should be adjusted to 0.2 to 0.6 millimeters by tightening or loosening the disc. Adjust the timing to release the thread tension so that the releasing action completes 1 or 2 stitches before the sewing end of the bar tacking number 1. The thread tension releasing action at the start of sewing should be adjusted so that it completes when 3 or 4 stitches are formed. Make the adjustment using the tension releasing cam number 2. The tension disc of the tension post number 2 floats when the sewing machine is in the low-speed operation state, or when the sewing machine enters into the stop-motion state and stops. The floating amount of tension disc number 2 should be adjusted to 0.3 to 0.7 millimeters by tightening or loosening the tension post number 2. The tension disc should float when the sewing machine is in its low-speed operation state, or when it stops. The disc should be closed when the sewing machine runs at high speed. Make the adjustment using tension releasing arm number 2. The tension disc number 3 floats when the machine is in its stop motion state. The floating amount of the tension disc number 3 should be adjusted to 0.3 to 0.7 millimeters by tightening or loosening the tension post number 3. The tension disc should float when the sewing machine is in its stop motion state. The disc should be closed when the sewing machine is in its low speed or high speed operation state. Make the adjustment using tension releasing arm number 3. Adjusting the thread take-up spring. Adjust the stroke of the thread take-up spring so that the thread is drawn by 8 to 10 millimeters when the bobbin thread is pulled with its on end fixed. The appropriate bobbin thread tension is 5 to 10 grams when the bobbin thread is drawn until the take-up spring moves by 1 or 2 millimeters. Adjusting the thread take-up amount. Loosen the screw in take-up thread guide A and adjust the clearance between guide A and the take-up cover to 3 to 4 millimeters. Moving guide A toward the right will form a well-tensed seam. If it is moved excessively toward the right, the thread may break easily. Adjusting the switches for the electronic stop motor. Adjusting the stop motion detector switch and the reduction detector switch. The stop motion detector switch should be turned on and the reduction detector switch should be turned off when the machine is in its low-speed operation state. Both switches are turned on when the machine is in its high-speed operation state. Loosen the screw in the switch mounting base when the machine is set to its low-speed operation state. Adjust the clearance between the push button of the reduction detector switch and the switcher pressure plate to 0.5 millimeters. Origin detector switch. The origin detector switch is mounted on the back side of the sewing machine. The origin of the cloth feed mechanism is detected when a clearance is provided between the sensors at the time of stop motion. Adjusting the components when the machine uses an AO device. Adjusting the pedal switch. The work clamp check lifting switch of the pedal is turned on when the pedal is not depressed. The start switch of the pedal is turned on when the pedal is fully depressed. The clearance indicated on the display should be adjusted to 0.5 millimeters when each switch is turned on using the switch mounted on the reverse side of this switch. Adjusting the knife actuation detector switch. Remove the cover. Loosen the nut and adjust the installing height of the knife actuation detector plate to 38.5 to 40.5 millimeters. Adjust the position of the sensor mounting base so that a clearance of 0.2 to 1.0 millimeters is provided between the magnetic sensor and the stopper. Adjusting the stop motion detector switch. When the stop motion lever is in its stop motion position, the top end of the push button of the stop motion detector switch should be 0.5 to 1 millimeter away from the actuator. Loosen the screw and make the adjustment. Adjusting the magnet stroke. Adjusting the lifting magnet. When the lifting magnet is activated, the clearance on the screen should be 2 to 3 millimeters. Lower the lifting lever by hand until the said clearance is obtained and loosen the nut. Then turn the plunger using a screwdriver and adjust the position of the lever. Adjusting the starting magnet. The chain should slacken when the starting magnet is not activated. Adjust the screw so that the top end of the screw in the stopper comes in contact with the stop motion lever mounting base when the magnet is activated. Self-diagnosable system. Remove the connectors on the output side. Set switch 8 of dip switch 3 to its on side and then turn on the power switch. The LEDs light up to tell you that the switches function normally. LED 1 lights up when the stop motion detector switch is normal. LED 2 lights up when the reduction detector switch is normal. LED 3 lights up when the origin detector switch is normal. LED 4 lights up when the knife actuation detector switch is normal. LED 5 lights up when the work clamp check lifting switch of the pedal is normal. LED 6 lights up when the starting switch of the pedal is normal. When you press the manual lifter switch, LED 1 lights up when the needle down position is detected. LED 2 lights up when the needle up position is detected, and LED 3 lights up when the double stitching switch is turned on. This completes the general description of the LBH 790 high-speed one-needle lock-stitch buttonholing machine. Juki has always led the industrial sewing machine industry in responding to the needs of the times. Now, Juki is introducing the LBH 790 to its customers with confidence. The LBH 790 is capable of performing many different kinds of buttonholing to respond to market needs.